I think that furry representation in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom / Breath of the Wild is an unironic, overwhelming cultural hegemonic victory for the left. I'm just going to put this up on screen while we talk. If you've played either of these games, there are some shocking character designs in these games. I really do mean it. This is a guy, by the way. I know it's hard to tell. There is not a non-sexual explanation for this. I don't even want to describe why. I feel like it would be patronizing to everybody watching to look at this design and go, okay, so you can see how it's sexualized, right? This is a Nintendo game. These are some of the other characters. This isn't spoilers. None of this is spoilers. I'm not spoiling anything. I particularly like how the Goron has been explicitly modeled to be muscular in the exact way that Bara furries draw characters. Have you ever seen there are like archetypes of gay furry artists who will draw guys who aren't quite fat and aren't quite muscular, but are instead built like a fridge? And of course, everybody knows that the Gerudo women are attractive. And then you have Shark Boy over here, to whom I have seen no end of fan art of. Why am I talking about all of this? Okay. Have you ever noticed how the Nazis really didn't like gay people? Shocker. But if you go to basically any far-right forum, you'll see them constantly obsessing over femboys. Not just femboys, but pornographied, offensive stereotypes of trans women. They'll say trap, tranny, the F slur, whatever else. But they're lusting after people with dicks, which in their ideological system would have gotten them sent to the camps. So why do they do that? Well, I think that humans have like a very complicated, innate sexual drive. Like, you can go back thousands of years. The Egyptians were putting anthropomorphized heads onto like sex gods, right? Like Sobek, god of semen, whatever else. This is not a modernity thing. People have been doing this forever. Like the pagans were doing this. This has always been a thing. So why? Well, I think that's just because our sex drive is a pretty huge part of our brains, for the most part. Not everyone's, but a lot of people's. And it gets kind of wrapped up in a bunch of associations we have. Think, for example, if I might indulge all of you in like a furry trope or an archetype for a moment. Rabbits, in real life, have sex a lot. They produce rapidly. They have they have large litters. Rabbits get all over the place. That's because they're prey animals. They get eaten up a lot. So people will, if there's like, say, for example, a cute drawn bunny girl, ascribe those tendencies to the bunny girl in a way that they find attractive. People do this with cat girls all the time, right? Like, well, what is a cat girl? Well, people like to make jokes about or to fantasize about cat girl archetypes, which involve coquettishness, being standoffish but playful, being socially withdrawn but ultimately affectionate, that kind of stuff. And people joke about that. Like, go on Twitter right now. There are like 5 million girls who are doing the cat girl roleplay thing, or dog girl, or whatever the fuck else. So again, like, why do we do this? Well, I think we do this for the same reason that Alexander the Great was compared to lions, right? If you said Alexander the Great was a lion, well, what would you mean by that? Obviously, he's not literally a lion, but you ascribe traits. You ascribe bravery, commanding authority to Alexander the Great. The lion in this case isn't a biological thing. The lion is an archetype, a concept, a set of tropes that you use to apply. We compare people to wolves. We say people are snakes. We say people are rats. Not, again, a biological comparison. We're ascribing attributes, And the pagan obsession with animal gods, to me, just seems like a logical extension of that belief, right? The idea that if you can take attributes and apply those, you could also take aesthetics and apply those, with an understanding that ultimately the person you're talking to and engaging with is a person. That is an unwavering characteristic in furry culture, pornography. These are all people. That's not in question. The bird, the fish, well, this is literally just a lady, and the Goron rock man, they're people. They talk, their brains work as ours do, they're people. In an ethical discussion, they would be considered alongside people. In the canon of the Zelda universe, they are people, legally and socially, correct? There aren't any questions of their sentience or sapience, their intelligence. They talk with you, they engage with you. Why are we talking about this? The reason we're talking about this is because I think Pandora's box has been opened. I think the fact that a mainstream Nintendo game has this be the first guy you meet is evidence that we have opened Pandora's box on a broader acceptance of non-standard social, sexual, and visual norms. I'm joking here about furry porn, but in reality, what I'm really talking about is, I guess, sexual freedom. I think that this goat slut is sexual freedom. I believe that because if you go online right now and take a look at discourse surrounding, say, this guy or, I don't know, any one of these four, you will see normies basically just praising furry thirst trapping. I think that people are innately interested in this kind of stuff. We're very intelligent animals. We are capable of engaging with ideas outside the most rote, like, definitional recreation of reality, right? It's possible to find concepts attractive, so why not goat slut? I think this is a massive cultural win for the left. I actually mean that, because I don't think that social conservatism is compatible with an acceptance of stuff like this. I think that social conservatism has to push, because psychosexual justifications for fascist ideology are so common. I think that they have to insist on not only the popularity, but the exclusivity of traditional aesthetic and sexual norms. Women should look like this. Men should look like this. Deviation from those norms literally got you sent in the death camp in a lot of cases, which makes me think that the fact that this stuff is so popular and ubiquitous now is an almost unsurmountable victory for progressivism. Because, tell me, what do you think would happen exactly? Like, what social backlash do you think conservatives would receive if there was some kind of monolithic push against all forms of non-standard appearance and sexual interest? We see some of this right now. I mean, you have like Andrew Tate red pill types who are like, oh, well, all women should be like thin and blonde and white or whatever. But for the most part, those are kind of isolated in their communities. Whereas the broader normie base is getting more and more accepting of just casually seeing people day to day wearing like, I don't know, goth outfits or wearing non-standard fashion. If even video games that are marketed to a mass audience are capable of, without qualification or controversy, showing character designs like this, I feel like we're kind of rolling down the hill towards sexual freedom in a way that conservatives aren't really able to push back against without betraying their own base. Go to 4chan and tell your average, like, trans porn, femboy porn, interracial porn obsessed dipshit that all of that has to go if they win, and I don't think they'll want to see themselves win.